How do we function here at Gestion Immobilière Suleiman? Well, it's pretty simple. You can reach out to us by phone, give us a phone call, email, even text message to talk about your project, whether you have 30 doors, 60 doors, or just a condo, a house. It doesn't matter. We'll be happy to help you out. We offer a first meeting that's always free, in which we do want to see the place, because it's important to see the place in case there's a few renovations that need to be done. And it's easier for us to make a plan on how we're going to maximize the profits for your unit by seeing it. Once we see it, we're usually going to come with some comparables to tell you that this is the rental market in this area for a two bedroom, sorry. This is how much you can get. 3-bedroom, this is how much you can get. And we'll give you a full evaluation, so you'll know everything. You'll know what rents you're going to get. You know our fees for the property itself. And if you have something like a bigger property, maybe you have 30 doors, etc., we'll do an action plan. An action plan in which we're going to explain to you how we're going to maximize your revenues. If you have 30 doors, chances are you have tenants that have been there for a long time. Maybe you have a few units that need to have some renovation, some work done. So we'll take a good look at the whole portfolio, and then we'll come back with an action plan as to how we're going to maximize the profits and optimize your portfolio. After the initial meeting, you'll have all the information you need to decide whether or not you're going to go with us. If you decide to go with us, then the first thing we're going to do is send out a photographer to take some professional pictures of all the units you have. It's something that's really important for us, and it's something I've learned from being a real estate agent. We always take professional photos. It's really important for us to paint the prettiest picture of your apartment possible, because that's going to allow us to rent it as soon as possible for the best rent possible. Once that is done, then we're going to put it on the market in all the websites and all the platforms that are relevant in today's day and age. Right now, we're getting a lot of clicks on Marketplace, a very good place to find tenants. Logis Québec, because we're in Quebec. And one thing that you get with us that you will not get with other property management is I'm also a licensed real estate agent. So I'm also going to put the property on realtor.ca, on the MLS, on Centris. Centris in Quebec is the biggest website for any real estate transactions. Whether you're buying, selling, or renting, you'll have the most amount of visibility with all the websites combined. So this is something that we offer that a lot of other companies don't offer, which I think is a really great option if you decide to go with us. Once the property is on the market, then we start with the showings. We start trying to find you a good tenant. So we filter out the tenants as much as possible. And once a tenant is really interested after the showing and the initial filtration period, then they can apply for the property. Once they do the application, they fill it out, then we do a full credit check. So we check whether or not they have a criminal record. We check the full credit. And we also make sure that they didn't have a previous file at the Tribunal Administratif du Logement, so they didn't have another dispute with another landlord. And we make sure their income is what they say that it is. So our process is pretty simple. Once we open the credit report and we have the last 3, 4, 5 pay stubs, we know approximately what they do, and we know whether or not they have a car, what their car payment is. We know if they have credit cards, what are the credit card payments. Then we can go with the income minus the expenses, how much is left, and then we can analyze whether or not that is enough to cover the rent for that property. And that is something that is completely legal in Quebec. The only reason as to why you would refuse a tenant a dwelling in Quebec is whether or not they can afford it. So you need to be sure that they can afford it or no. If they have in the past had issues with respecting certain laws as a tenant. So they failed to their tenant duty. So maybe paying the rent on time, maybe they just left a place without paying the rent ever. They smoked in a house that was non-smoking, things like that. Those will all be at the tribunal, and those are the things we check because the files are public. And we also check if they have a criminal record, those are the 3 things with which you could refuse a dwelling to someone in Quebec. So those are the things that we check in our credit report. And we do a video at the end. So we do a video where we share our screen and then we go through the whole thing. We go through their income, the credit report. We also go through the criminal record check, and we see if they have a file at the tribunal. We send that video to you, and you decide whether or not you want that tenant. If you want them, we'll happily sign a lease. If not, we'll keep looking for another one.